Hi everyone, we're at John Sadler's Auto Repair. We have a 2012 Hyundai Sonata with a 2.4 liter gasoline direct injection. The customer bought the car about 20,000 miles ago and they're in for a second opinion for the service that it needs. And another shop told them it needed an axle and a drive belt and it had an oil leak and they wanted to change a cover on the side of the motor. So I'll show you what I found. The first thing I did is I drove the vehicle and it drifted to the right. So here's the right front tire, and you can see here's the little wear bar on the tire that tells you it's worn out. And you can see it's just like the tread's being worn right at the front of it. It's like it's scuffing. It's wearing the tread right off the front of the tire. So there's got a wheel alignment issue, and I don't think the tires have been rotated at proper intervals. And if we go over to the driver's side, we can see the tread's a lot more straight there. It's a lot higher on there. There's still a little bit of scuffing going on, but not near as much as on the passenger side. So I'm just recommending they get 4 new tires for it. And then as far as the brake pads go, it has newer brake pads on the front. We can look inside the caliper inside there and see the brake pads look pretty new. And then we can go around to the passenger side over here where the front of the motor is, and they told him he needed a new serpentine drive belt. And the way you check that belt is you look at the ribs of it to look for cracks and things like that. So we'll go to an area where there's tension on the belt where a pulley is there. So you can see that the belt's wide open. It has tension on the curve, on the arch there. There's not even small cracks. I mean, that belt looks like it's in great condition. So it actually looks like it's been recently replaced. I don't think anything wrong with that drive belt whatsoever. Now there was a lot of oil. I've already cleaned some of it up all over the side of the engine here. And if you see all this gray material, it's a gasket sealer. And what this is telling me, the car has 60,000 miles on it, that gray material is all over the pans from someone's handprints and all over these bolts, because that's not a factory job. So it tells me the oil pan's been off on this vehicle since it's been new, that someone has taken the oil pan off and done something for whatever reason, and there's some wetness, you know, by these bolts up in this front corner here. Another point I wanted to put out is it looked like the oil drain plug has been leaking some, and there's a little cover on the bottom of the vehicle, and what they ask you to do is take this little panel off of here to drain the oil. Well, it looks like when they did that, I've cleaned this up some already, and you can still see where there's some debris down inside of here. I have to go back and clean up some, but there was oil everywhere inside of here, because when you pull that plug out, it's going to spray around everywhere, and I don't think anyone ever cleaned it up. So we decided to do an oil change on it, clean it up, and go from there. So then I took the air filter out to take a look at it, and it has a little bit of debris. It's not super bad, but you can see how this line here, this is the gasket that seals the air filter to the air filter housing. And if you come along to the side here, it's not even connected. And we flip it up like this, and this corner's not on. In the bottom of the housing where this goes on the engine, there's a bunch of sand and debris, and that's getting sucked up in the engine because they didn't install the filter properly. So there's a few issues we have to look at. And then we got a new axle for it, because when you turn right, every time it clicks. So the CV joint in the axle is going bad. And so we got a new axle from Hyundai, and we're going to replace that. And then inside the car, most new cars now have cabin air filters. And this one has one as well. And it's up behind the glove box up there. And if we look inside there, we can see it's got quite a bit of buildup inside there also. So we'll put a new cabin air filter in it also. And we go back to the rear of the car. It has 4-wheel disc brakes, pretty nice feature. You can see the brake pad inside of here. It's maybe 45–50% worn. So it's about half worn on the back. Someone's just put new brakes on the front of it. And it's funny, the 2 places they went to, no one said anything about the tires. It seems like people don't want to inspect tires anymore. But this is a huge issue for the way that vehicle drives. I took it out on the freeway and drove at 70 miles an hour, and it doesn't ride good. So the one last tip I'll give you here, there's a technical service bulletin that I found on my ALLDATA software that talks about if you don't use a factory oil filter, the engine can knock. So that is not a factory oil filter. This is a generic aftermarket oil filter by Cal Lube. And the bulletin that they have on it says if you don't use this original Hyundai filter, that the engine can knock. So we got the Hyundai filter, got the Hyundai axle. We're going to get an air filter, and we're going to get a filter for the cabin, and we're going to do an oil change on it, get it back stable again. And then we're going to go to Discount Tire tomorrow and see my good friend John Toombs on Mission Gorge Road here in San Diego, California, and get 4 new tires. Then the customer will have a safe vehicle to drive. I'll make a schedule of the next maintenance that it needs, and they can go on from there and have a nice vehicle. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.